This is the Yay or Nay Show with Alex C. A sports show for sports fans by a sports fan. And now, here is Alex C.
Okay, so the stuff to go over today, so we're going to kind of run through it all as quickly as we can, trying not to go over on time. This is the Yay or Nay Show, the sports show for sports fans by a sports fan. I, of course, am your host, Alex C. So I'm going to start off here with a question that I asked a couple of weeks ago. I've been having some problems on my Twitter feed. Normally, I kick off the show with Yay or Nay questions. I've been having a problem with the official Twitter feed for some reason. It keeps getting basically, unseen, blocked, whatever you want to call it. I run polls, I do tweets, and for some reason, Twitter keeps stopping my posts from being seen. So I'm currently using my personal in order to be able to run polls. But here's one of the polls that I ran. Do you agree with the NFL rules always favoring the offense? As we know, the rules favor the offense, right? The defender can barely defend. He can't do anything. He can't touch anybody. He can't get near anybody. It's like a total pain in the tail in order for a defender to be able to defend. Now they're talking about changing the rules to where you can't hit people in the knee area. So wait, you can't hit high. You can't hit in the leg area now. I shouldn't say now. The rule's not official. It hasn't been done. Hasn't been introduced. Apparently, it's going to get introduced in the offseason. But they're going to limit the area where you can hit. So basically, you're going to have a very, very, very small area where a defender can actually do a tackle. And it's amazing. Tom Brady was applauding this move in regards to this particular rule that's going to be introduced. And yet this is the same guy, Tom Brady, who was saying that the NFL has become too strict in regards to its rules. And it has taken a lot of the, for a lack of a better word, a lot of the manhood out of the NFL and the game of football. But all of a sudden now they're talking about, limiting again how a defender and where a defender can hit you. And Tom Brady is applauding it. Look, and let's be honest. These rules are the only reason why Tom Brady is still playing football. If we're being absolutely honest, these rules are the only reason why Tom Brady is still playing football. If this were back in the 80s, Tom Brady at 40 years old wouldn't even be thinking about continuing on and playing football. At 35, considering how frail Tom Brady is, he probably wouldn't be playing football because he would have got knocked out of the game because defenders would have the ability to hit you and take you down and grab you and do everything they want to do in order to be able to get you down to the ground. But now you can't do that. Penalty flags are thrown like crazy, and that's the whole reason why Tom Brady is really playing. It's not about his diet. It's not about this crazy trainer that he has training him and all. It's the fact that you can't touch players in the NFL. If you were able to do the things that you used to be able to do, Tom Brady would not still be a quarterback in the NFL. Fact, not fiction. But again, I went to Twitter to put a poll up. Do you agree with NFL rules always favoring the offense? 83.3% of the people that voted said no, they do not agree with NFL rules favoring the offense. And again, if the rules didn't favor the offense the way they do, Tom Brady would not still be a quarterback in the NFL. Again, fact, not fiction. There is no disputing by anybody the words that I just said. All right, moving on because we got quite a bit of stories coming out. 49ers quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo has a chipped bone and a torn ligament in his right thumb. Apparently, it happened in the second quarter of the game against the Titans. Now we know why Jimmy was struggling against the Titans because it wasn't really making a whole lot of sense. Now it makes sense. Trey Lance has been suited up. He's been practicing hard for a while. They say that they have been very happy with the progress Trey has made and that this week has been his best week of practice. Of course, they're going to say that because they're about to start Trey Lance because Jimmy G is more than likely not going to play this week against the Texans. So, of course, they're going to say Trey is having the best week of practice. What else would you expect them to say? But even still, with that being said, bottom line is Jimmy G has another injury, suffered it in the second quarter of the game against the Tennessee Titans, and it's a chipped bone and a torn ligament in his right thumb, which is his throwing hand. And that, of course, is going to limit his ability. So they're going to put Trey Lance in on Sunday. And, of course, here comes the national media jumping all over it. This is now your chance to get Trey Lance. We've been waiting. We've been wondering why Trey Lance hasn't played. It's like the national media thinks that they get to demand things and that football coaches and general managers and owners are supposed to give in to whatever the national media says. But the bottom line is now that Trey Lance is going to play, of course, the national media is now Trey Lance from here moving forward will be the starting quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. And what a great time to plug him in, because he's going to now be able to show you what he can do. And now you can see what his abilities are and exactly where he's at in his development. And this point moving forward, Trey Lance will now be the starting quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. Look, I don't know, again, these guys are analysts. They get paid to do this for a living, and they still don't understand what is in front of them. Because, again, Trey Lance coming in, great. You're going to get a look at him? Great. It's against the Houston Texans. So if he does well, and he should, because it's the Houston Texans, it's not going to prove anything, first and foremost. Secondly, it's Jimmy Garoppolo who got the 49ers to this point to be in the playoffs at this point. Not Trey Lance, not the threat of Trey Lance. Trey Lance hasn't even been on the field for months. So why, if you are somebody who does this for a living, why are you going to say that Trey Lance coming in is the best thing that could happen to the 49ers? He didn't get him here. He hasn't been winning these games. He's not the reason why the 49ers have won a single game. He lost in his start against the Cardinals. So what makes you think Trey Lance now needs to be your starting quarterback when Jimmy G has you in the playoffs and all Trey Lance has to do is not mess that up while Jimmy repairs? And if Jimmy gets healthy, and he should, because we're told that this injury is a workable injury, he should be able to play through it. And if he is, I say you immediately flip him and put Trey Lance back on the sidelines. Jimmy G is the one who deserves to be the starting quarterback. Jimmy G is still the better quarterback, and Jimmy G is the one who got you here to be in the playoffs to begin with, not Trey Lance. It would be like saying, you know what? We don't want to be in the playoffs. We don't want to win any game in the playoffs. So since we're not winning and we're not interested in winning any games in the playoffs, we'll just go ahead and make Trey Lance our starting quarterback. That's what that's really saying. Again, shows you how you have to question what these NFL analysts see and think when it comes to football, because you're basically just saying, yeah, we don't care if we win a Super Bowl. We don't care if we win any playoff games. We just want to put Trey Lance in, and we just want to see what he can do, because that's what the national media guys want us to do. That would be absolutely stupid for a coach and a general manager to make that decision because the national media deems that it's the thing you need to do. Which, again, makes no sense, which, again, is why these guys are commentators and why they're not general managers and why they're not coaches, because they have no idea what they're talking about. Because if they had any idea what they were talking about in any way, shape, or form whatsoever, they wouldn't be telling you, take the quarterback out that's been winning games and is getting you to the playoffs and put in the rookie quarterback, and don't worry about whether you win playoff games. Don't worry about whether you go to the Super Bowl. Just put in the rookie quarterback because he's going to be the future of your team, even though you have a viable quarterback who once again is getting you to the playoffs. Again, showing you why these reporters are not general managers and they're not coaches, because they don't know enough about football in order to be able to do those particular jobs. So since we know they're not good enough to do those particular jobs, why would a team listen to an NFL supposed expert analyst? Again, if they were that much of an expert, they would actually be a head coach or a general manager of a football team. There's a reason why they're not. Simple as 1, 2, 3. Fact, not fiction. Nothing that any one of these so-called NFL expert analysts could dispute against me in any way, shape, or form. Why? Because they don't have a job. I've already been proven correctly. And they're saying stuff that's stupid, like put in a rookie when you got a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo who's getting you into the playoffs, but you want to put the rookie in just to put him in, which is dumb because, again, your best shot at winning is with Jimmy Garoppolo as your starting quarterback. So NFL experts, listen up. Let me teach you something one more time. The 49ers' best opportunity to win will be with Jimmy G as the starting quarterback, not Trey Lance. Okay? And you're the so-called experts. Unbelievable. But I knew they would jump all over this. There was no doubt in my mind that they would jump all over this. As soon as I saw this story, I'm like, I'm sure these guys are salivating. Can't wait to tell you how now, from this point moving forward, you'll never see Jimmy G again. It's all about Trey Lance, and he's going to be the starting quarterback from this point moving forward. Yeah, if you don't want to win 49ers, yeah, don't start Jimmy G. Yeah, I'll go up against these NFL so-called experts anytime, any place, anywhere, because, again, in most things, football or sports in general, I'm finding that they really aren't experts. They're just fans. They got their own rhymes and reasons why they want to see things done, but they're nothing but fans. They're not experts. Here's a funny story. Tom Brady praises a brave reporter after a viral question to Bill Belichick. Tom Brady's New Year's resolution is to be like the reporter who had the guts to ask an offbeat question to Bill Belichick after a division loss. On a new episode of his Let's Go podcast with Jim Gray, the Buccaneers quarterback was asked about the viral exchange between the former coach and a reporter who recently asked Bill Belichick to share his New Year's resolution for 2022. I want to be as brave and courageous as she was. Asking that question to Coach Bill Belichick after a loss, that's what I want for the new year, Brady said, referring to New England's 33-21 home loss to the Bills on Sunday. That was awesome. Good for her. I could have predicted that answer. It usually is not the best time to ask a coach about things like that after a tough loss. Now, after the Patriots allowed the Bills to take the top spot in the AFC East on Sunday, an unnamed reporter surprised the press room with her line of questioning. She says, "Football aside, I'm doing a story for New Year's resolutions, and I was wondering if you had wanted to share your fans and to our readers what your New Year's resolution is." That's what the reporter asked Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick, known for his stern encounters with reporters, stood emotionless at the podium and replied, "Yeah, no, not right now. Maybe next week." I mean, that to me is hilarious. Why a reporter would ask that question after a football game to begin with, and B, after a loss, is a mystery to me. I don't know why it went viral. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. In all honesty, my opinion is it was a stupid question by a person who probably didn't deserve to be in the room to begin with if they're going to ask a stupid question like that. And there's a reason why the reporter's unnamed, because that was, let's be honest, it's funny. Don't get me wrong. It's funny, but it was a stupid question. That was an absolute stupid question. I think Tom Brady was just being polite in regards to his response in what he said about her asking the question, just to be polite, because that's who Tom Brady is. He's not a rude guy, and I don't blame him. But, I mean, let's be honest. That was a stupid question. Whoever the reporter was didn't even deserve to be in the room. Here's another interesting story. Magic Johnson. He's not looking forward to HBO's series on Showtime Lakers. HBO's upcoming miniseries on the Los Angeles Lakers is churning up plenty of interest, just not from Magic Johnson. The basketball icon and centerpiece of the 1980s Showtime Lakers, who won 5 NBA championships, got caught by TMZ on camera on Sunday. He was asked his thoughts on the upcoming show titled Winning Time, The Rise of the Lakers Dynasty. He's not interested. "I'm not really looking forward to it," Johnson told TMZ. "I'm going to leave it at that." Asked if he's planning on watching, Johnson was succinct in his reply, "No." There's a couple of the shows, I believe, one by one of the owners, and then, of course, Magic has a show of his own, both coming up, and they're both going to be about the Lakers and the Showtime era as well. I think he's really more interested in promoting that. Doesn't like the competition, maybe. I don't know. I'm just kind of guessing. But I did find it interesting that he, kind of downplayed it, didn't really even say anything positive about it. He's just kind of, no. And I know that he went on further to promote the upcoming show that he has and the one that the owners have. And he talked about those shows a little bit, but he didn't really get into, anything else about this particular show. But again, I just thought it was an interesting story. Here's another one. This one is on NBC Sports. Josh Allen's Bills expose a hard truth in stomping of the Pats. And here's the way that the story goes. 2 weeks ago, the Bills got run over by the Patriots. Bills' reaction, we beat ourselves. Last week, the Patriots got caught flat-footed by the Colts, and the Patriots' reaction, we beat ourselves. On Sunday, the Bills walked into Foxborough, and with the AFC East on the line, they pushed the Patriots all over Gillette Stadium. There's no confusion this week. There's no hide and seek. That wasn't us excuse making. It wasn't the dropped picks or the dropped passes or the penalties called, waved off, or not called. It was the Bills. The Bills beat the Patriots. The Bills beat the Patriots because they had the best players on the field in $250 million quarterback Josh Allen. And that's the way that this NBC sports reporter sees it. Now, I would say that the better team was the Bills that day. I don't think that on any given Sunday, if they meet again in the playoffs, it's a guarantee that the Bills would beat the Patriots because Bill Belichick's a better coach. If you want to go coach for coach, Bill Belichick's the better coach. If you want to go quarterback for quarterback, Josh Allen is not a consistent quarterback. He's not a pocket quarterback. He has to run all the time. And since you know that Josh Allen has to run all the time because he has zero running game, no running backs, and he's not really good as a pocket passer. And as soon as he feels pressure, he immediately takes off. That's why he's rushing like 100 yards a game, right? Because he immediately takes off as soon as he feels pressure. Look, with the Patriots knowing that, and with Bill Belichick as their coach, I think he'll make the proper adjustments. He'll be more prepared for it the next time around. I don't know that it's a guarantee that if they meet in the playoffs, the Bills will beat the Patriots. Even though the national media guys would want you to believe that that's what's going to happen, I don't believe that's what's going to happen. Not at all, actually. Here's a funny story. Santa kicked out of AT&T Stadium after putting a Cowboys fan in a headlock. Besides the ass kicking being administered by the Dallas Cowboys to the Washington football team on the AT&T turf Sunday night, there was plenty of action in the stands when punches were flying and Bad Santa was ejected from Jerry's World for putting a fellow Cowboy fan in a headlock. In a separate incident, a Cowboy fan was drilled in the face by a man wearing a pink polo shirt. Throw in Washington players trying to punch each other, and it was just one of those traditional nights when these divisional rivals get together for a Christmas weekend football game. That is funny. I wish I would have been able to see that live because there's nothing more interesting. Not great, not fun. I'm not saying it's something that should happen all the time, but when it happens, it is kind of funny to watch when fans are fighting in the stands, especially when you got something as cool as Santa Claus kicking some ass in the stands. To me, that's hilarious. I wish I would have seen that. All right. Last night, let's talk about that game really quickly. This is not a game to me that proved anything. First of all, yes, Miami won their 7th in a row. Yes, Miami is the first team in history to lose 7 in a row and then win 7 in a row. Okay, fine. Get it, understand it. Great. Here's the thing, though. I don't think that it proved anything at all in regards to Miami or New Orleans. First of all, New Orleans had a, third string quarterback? Of course the guy is not going to be able to do well. He's like a rookie. He's never played it or started in an NFL game before, never taken an NFL snap. So the game was over before they ever hit the field. Let's be honest. When they were showing the guy's family and they were talking about it, I felt bad for the family. I was looking at them like, you guys know what's coming, right? I mean, I don't even know why you guys are looking like you're going to be in for an exciting game. I mean, you guys should already know what's coming. You should have seen enough football. If you have a kid playing at this level, you should have seen enough football to know that, it's not going to go well. I mean, just something they should know. And they hit the field, and sure enough, 3 plays in, you're like, yeah, it's over. Once he threw the first pick, I'm like, game's over. Here's the thing. Miami should have been able to pounce on them more, but that just shows you Miami is not as great as Miami thinks. Miami has beat a bunch of bad teams. They haven't beat a bunch of winning teams. They haven't beat a bunch of playoff teams. They beat a bunch of bad teams. And they haven't blown anybody up, and they haven't destroyed anybody. And they're talking about Tua, and they're talking about the high percentage of completions during this win streak, and that's all great, but they're all dink and dunk. They're not deep balls. They're not scoring at a high clip. They're just dink and dunk, and dink and dunk is fine. But I also don't agree with the national media when they're saying that, get rid of Tua. Tua's too limited. His ceiling's too low. He's not going to be able to get you to the promised land. Look, they don't have a roster. I mean, they don't have a roster. They don't have wide receivers. They don't have running backs. They don't have an offensive line that's stout. And they got a quarterback with promise. And it's only his second year, by the way. So I don't know why they're acting like we've seen more than enough to say this guy's a bum and he's not a starting quarterback. But yet you guys want to say that the quarterback for the Giants is somebody who needs to keep going, and we're in like year 5 coming up for him, and you're saying, yeah, we should go ahead and keep going with him. Again, makes no sense the valuation that these experts, so-called experts, put on quarterbacks. How can you say that Danny Dimes is somebody who deserves another year as the head quarterback of the New York Giants, yet Tua is in year number 2 and is way better than Danny Dimes will ever be already in year number 2? He's already a better quarterback. And yet you say that Danny Dimes deserves another year, but Tua, if you could find somebody to replace him. Yet Tua wins way more games than Danny Dimes does, and Tua's the one that needs to be replaced. Again, the valuations, the way these guys evaluate stuff, it doesn't make sense. But again, it goes to what I've been saying all along. These guys are biased when they talk sports, and for whatever the reason is, and there's a million of them, they're very biased when they're talking sports. They're not looking at the big picture. They're not talking to you from a non-biased state. They're just giving you biased opinions. Because again, there's no way in the world Danny Dimes, first of all, should still be a quarterback for the Giants. The guy, he's a backup at best. He's not a starting quarterback. He's never going to be a starting quarterback. It's time to move off of him. Tua has shown you that he can win games, and he's done it for 2 seasons, and he's won games for 2 seasons, and he gets on hot streaks, and he's good, and he's had some low streaks. Okay, you just got to work him out of it. But he's not throwing picks. He's consistent. His completion percentage is high, and you can talk about dink and dunk, and that they're not the greatest plays in the world, but there's a lot of other quarterbacks that do dink and dunk, and yet their completion percentages are nowhere near as high. So he's obviously doing something right. So I don't know. I just don't understand, again, how they evaluate these quarterbacks, the way that these guys come up with ideas and philosophies. I think a lot of it has to do with who their former teams are, where their loyalties lie to certain coaches, regions of the country, whatever the case may be. But they're not looking at this from a completely logical point of view. They're just giving you whatever their bias is. Because for anybody to say that Danny Dimes should still be a starting quarterback in the NFL, there's got to be a rhyme and a reason why they're saying it. And it's not because the kid is good, and it's not because the kid is showing promise, because he's showed you neither one of those two things. Tua has shown you both of those things. He is good, he does have promise, and he's winning games, unlike Danny Dimes in New York. So, again, don't always listen to what the national media tells you, because they tell you a lot of stuff that's garbage, and it's not true. It's just, or it's biased. It's just the way they do it. I don't know why it's the way they do it, but it is the way they do it. Gets a little annoying sometimes. I know. I listen to it all the time just to see what their takes are, but it's absolutely annoying, and I completely get it. Got a lot of more stuff I want to get to, but I'm kind of out of time today, so we'll get into it tomorrow. Brand new power rankings for the NBA, brand new power rankings for the NFL. We'll get into those tomorrow, plus a whole lot more. You guys enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll talk tomorrow.